Endurance Junkie Podcast, episode 53. Hey Junkie, welcome to episode 53 of the Endurance Junkie Podcast, the show where I will be interviewing some of the fastest, smartest and most inspiring people active in the endurance world today. Ryan Sands is an ultra runner from South Africa. After participating in his first ever marathon in 2006, Sands has gone from step to stride, gaining international acclaim as one of the world's top trail runners. Setting new course records is a common occurrence for Sands. He was named 4 Desert Champion for being the first competitor to win all 4 of the desert races, and in addition to that, the first competitor to win every single stage in each of the desert races. Ryan, thanks for taking the time to chat here today. For those of us who don't know you, can you start off by telling us a bit about yourself and your sporting background growing up in South Africa?
Yes, hi, great to be on your show. I'm from South Africa, Cape Town. I've grown up here my whole life, and throughout school, I played a lot of rugby and spent a lot of time on the beach living in Cape Town, and did a bit of surfing. And it was only really my final year at university that I discovered running, and only about a year or two later that I got into trail running, and immediately it stuck with me, and I really enjoyed it and found myself spending more and more times in the mountains. And I think I progressed pretty quickly, just I think purely because I was so passionate about what I was doing. And before I knew it, it had become a full-time profession for me. So really lucky to be able to be a full-time professional trail runner and kind of do what I love doing every day.
Yeah, were you pretty competitive in rugby? Did you play at a high level?
Yes, I played first team at school, but unfortunately I stopped growing, and I'm not too sure how much you know about rugby, but obviously you got to be pretty big these days to play rugby. So I realized that after getting bashed around one too many times, that I'd kind of reached my limits of where I could go with rugby. And then after school did a bit of surfing and stuff, and then a year or two later got into running and trail running.
Yeah. So what made you decide to pick up running? Was it some kind of bet, or how did you? Because I think you first did a marathon in 2006. So where did that idea come from?
Yes, it was last year at university, and I had a whole bunch of friends going up to run a half marathon just outside of Cape Town. It was always a really big, fun and festive party weekend, and I decided to join them at the last minute. But half marathon entries were already closed, or they had filled up. So I decided, what the heck, like being a student and pretty carefree, that I'd run the marathon. I didn't know if I was gonna be able to finish it, but I thought at least I'd be up there for the party and all the fun that goes with that. So I'd entered the marathon. I think I only had about 4 or 5 weeks to train for it, and being a student, I didn't do too much training, but I got through the marathon and really enjoyed it. And I think that's where my kind of love for running, and more specifically later trail running, started.
Yeah. So what time did you do in that first marathon?
I think it was about 3 hours 18. Luckily, most of the marathon was off road and kind of went through the mountains, and it was like I'd say about 80% of it was on trail. So I've always really enjoyed the more mountainous kind of running. So but it was a great experience.
Yeah, cool. 3:18, definitely a very good time for a debut. Where do you think that running fitness came from? You said you only had like 4 or 5 weeks to train from, but did that base that you have, did that come purely from playing rugby, or do you think it comes from somewhere else? Natural ability to run?
Yes, I hadn't really been playing much rugby for like the previous 2 years before doing the marathon. I'd done quite a bit of surfing, and I've always been a fairly active person. Always enjoyed the outdoors. I think I'd much rather spend time being outdoors on the beach, or playing kind of touch rugby or soccer with mates, and kind of being in a big shopping mall. So I think I obviously had a certain amount of natural fitness, and I suppose also just like kind of competitive nature that I have kicked in as soon as I I started the marathon, and everyone was laughing at me, and all my friends were making jokes that there was no ways I was even going to get halfway through the marathon. So I think that kicked in, and I was kind of wanted to prove them wrong that I could actually run a marathon.
Yeah. Did you beat them?
Uh, they all ran the half marathon, so I got
Okay.
stuck doing the full marathon. But yeah, I think I came close maybe to actually my time for the marathon was nearly quicker than one of my mates' half marathon times.
All right. So I guess they stopped laughing pretty quickly. So yeah, you were hooked after that first marathon. How did you get into ultra running then? Because I guess there's a big difference from 42 kilometers to 100 plus.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously, I've growing up on the back slopes of Table Mountain, coming back from running a marathon. I joined a local running club, the Hout Harriers, and really quickly I started going for trail runs with a number of the runners, and I really started enjoying it. And I'd entered a couple of local trail races in 2007, and then I think I've always been someone that's it's kind of either all or nothing. And one day I was googling extreme races, and up popped the Four Deserts website, and I decided to enter the Gobi Desert race, which was in a few months' time. To be honest, I didn't actually really know where the Gobi Desert was or what the race entailed, but it just seemed like a really cool adventure at the time. So I clicked on the payment button and made my payment, and then kind of reality sunk in that I had 4 or 5 months to train for a 250k multi-day race. So it was a really big step up for me, but it was something I really enjoyed. And I think whereas my first marathon I ran, I did basically no training for the Gobi Desert race. It's the hardest I've ever had to train for something, and I did a lot of preparation and a lot of hard work went into that.
Yeah, cool. Just looking at at your career from then 2006 2007 when you first did that Gobi race until now, it seems like the first part of your career was mainly multi-stage events like the Four Desert races, but these last couple of years it's been mainly longer one-day events like 100Ks or 100 milers. First of all, like what attracted to you those multi-stage races in the beginning, and why did you make that switch to the one-day events now?
Yeah, I think I kind of stumbled upon the multi-day events almost by accident. Like I said, when I was kind of Googling on the internet, and I trained like really hard for the Gobi Desert race. And about a week before leaving for the Gobi Desert race, I made myself a promise that I was going to throw my running shoes away after I finished the race, and that was going to be it. I was going to go back to enjoying a good social life with mates and spending time with them, because as I said, I did a lot of hard training leading up to the race, so I kind of really had to cut my social life in half, or it was basically non-existent. So I did the Gobi Desert race, and it went really well. And I think then the running bug definitely had bitten, or the ultra running bug, and kind of got back after running the Gobi Desert race. And the race went well, and I was really stoked with how everything went, and I was on a high. But there was also just also felt like I had this massive void inside me as well. You spend like 4 or 5 months training for this big event, and now all of a sudden it was over. So I didn't throw my running shoes away, and I kind of made some plans. And because I'd won the Gobi Desert race, I managed to pick up some sponsorship, and I did the next multi-stage race in the Four Desert series, which was the Sahara Desert race towards the end of 2008, and that went really well. And I got to spend some time at those two races with Dean Karnazes, the really well-known American ultra runner. And I think he gave me a lot of insight, and he was a massive inspiration for me. And I got chatting to him, and I kind of pretty quickly decided this is what I really wanted to do as a profession and try and make something out of it. So early in 2009, I turned fully professional and decided to try and complete the Four Desert series, and with the goal of hopefully being able to win it. And in between, I did a number of multi-day races as well. And then at the end of 2010, I really stoked to have achieved my goal of completing the Four Desert series and winning it. And I think after that, I felt I'd kind of ticked the multi-day races, or I ticked the boxes I'd wanted to do. And I really wanted to focus more on mountain running and try something new. I think for me, I always want to try new things and new challenges. And yeah, I think the next progression was me to try the 100-mile and 100-kilometer mountain races. So I moved into those in 2011. It was obviously quite a difficult transition to make in the beginning, but yeah, I think I feel a lot more comfortable now running in really big mountains, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, cool. How has your training evolved then over the years? I mean, I guess there's a really different preparation for a multi-stage race as opposed to a 100-miler.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people ask me, like, how long do you want to keep running for? And for me, I think a lot of it comes down to like as an athlete and as a person. As long as I'm continually evolving and improving, then I think I want to keep on running and keep on racing. So I think my training has changed a lot over the years. I think when I started training for my first multi-day race, I didn't know a hell of a lot about ultra running, and as I've progressed up until more recently, I think my training's definitely got a lot more. I wouldn't say too much more like kind of scientific, but it's definitely I know a lot more about training, and I try and listen to my body a lot. I think luckily I've always believed in really listening to your body, and I think that's the most important thing you can do. But training for a multi-day race, I think it's really important to try and train like race specific. So a multi-day race, you've got to get used to running on consecutive days, and often you'll be running in really hot conditions, really sandy conditions. Sometimes if you're running in the Gobi Desert or the Atacama Desert, it's at really high altitude. So I tried really hard to mimic my training conditions and my racing conditions. And now currently running more one-day races. Obviously, I try and do longer one-off runs and really get used to doing a lot more elevation change, because I'm spending a lot more time in the mountains, or even spending time at altitude. So that's obviously there's a big difference between the multi-day and the one-day races. But if you look at my overall distance, it's still kind of roughly the same, like for a general week for a multi-day or a one-day race. But I think over the last, or definitely I think this year, I'm looking to do probably a lot like less quantity and more quality and less training. I think I've been doing this for a couple of years now, so I think my body's got that endurance, and I think it's important to try and stay fresh and go into races as sharp and fresh as possible, and not feeling overtrained.
Yeah, I guess it's a trend that you see in a lot of endurance sports, that after a couple of years of really base building and doing the mileage, that people move away from that and try to incorporate more quality instead of quantity. Do you stick to purely running, or do you try to CrossFit train as well, or incorporate gym work, for example?
Over the past 3 years, I definitely started doing a lot more gym work. I think specifically the last year or 2 years. I think it's just to build all-round strength. I think if you're a stronger athlete, then it makes you a more efficient runner, and it means you can obviously cover more ground at a faster speed. So I think that's really important, and also to have good movement and mobility is really important. So I do spend about 2 to 3 hours a week in the gym, doing lots of mobility work and strength work as well. And I think it's also quite important, like in off season, to actually do some strength work and try and get as strong as possible. Obviously, when I'm doing high mileage, it's not easy to do kind of high strength work as well. Otherwise, it's just too taxing on your system. But I really do believe in strength work and keeping good movement, and I think it definitely helps you become a better runner, or makes you more efficient. But also I think it makes you a little bit bulletproof. It definitely helps you avoid injuries over a really long and taxing season.
Yeah. And what about nutrition? I guess that has changed as well since those party years, maybe.
Yeah, probably less beer and more kind of gels, and I started off doing a lot of the multi-day stages, and up until about a year or two ago, I used to do a lot of my racing with Perpetuum, which is made by Hammer Nutrition. But now more recently, for some of the longer one-day races, I use like energy bars, like Llama Bar, also Goo gels, and then if a race goes over 20 hours, then I'll try and eat something solid as well, just to get something solid in my stomach. And then also mixing Red Bull with water, I find that works really well, especially when the race gets quite long, just to keep me like mentally sharp. Okay. Otherwise, you kind of get hazy and really tired. So that's kind of my race nutrition. But I think just my general kind of nutrition, I don't follow a strict diet, but I try and eat healthily, lots of whole foods, and again try and listen to what my body wants. If I feel like I need lots of protein and meat, then I'll eat that. If I'm feeling like I need more salads and vegetables and greens, and then I'll eat that. So I try not to be too strict on myself. I think you've also got to live life a little and enjoy life. So I do enjoy a pizza and a hamburger here and there.
Yeah, well, you definitely spend a lot of energy or a lot of calories when you're running, so that's not a problem there. Yeah, I've sent out on Twitter before we went live that we were going to tape this interview, and I had a question come through from Claire Doherty, and she wanted to know what you think about during these long races. How do you stay mentally fresh during a 100-miler?
Yeah, it's obviously a really long time, and I think for like a 100-mile race, almost for the first 50 to 60 miles, I try and switch off and pretend I'm not actually in a race. I try and listen to music and just pretend I'm on a long training run, and really try and soak up all the surroundings and really enjoy the beautiful surroundings and where I'm running, and just try and stay as relaxed and positive as possible. And then I think obviously as the race progresses and it gets to kind of the sharp end of the race, where things heat up, and also you start to get a lot more tired and feel more fatigued. I think definitely like I try to switch on more into race mode, and then I think for me it's really just breaking the race down to lots of mini goals. I just kind of focus on getting through 10Ks at a time or 1K at a time, and really just kind of breaking that race down into lots of kind of bite-sized chunks. And then again, I think just staying as positive as possible. Like, I think I've never had a race that's gone 100% according to plan. There's always things that go wrong. So it's about staying positive. And I think the person that can deal with the lows in an ultra distance race is often the person that does the best. So yeah, for me, I just try and stay as positive as possible. Kind of think back to all the hard training that I did at times, all the people that have supported me along the way, and I just really try and enjoy my surroundings. I think that's one of the things I love about trail running, is that your surroundings are always constantly changing, and no two runs are ever the same.
Yeah, no, I guess that's really good advice there. And I do recognize it as well. I mean, I don't have a trail running background. I have a triathlon background. I did some Ironmans, and yeah, it's also a pretty long day, and there's at least 5-6 times during that day that you ask yourself, what the hell am I doing here? And it bloody hurts. But if you chuck it down into small pieces and see the positive of it, it definitely gets you going again.
For sure.
What about recovery? Because I'm guessing, as I said, I come from a triathlon background. A marathon definitely takes a lot out of you after a 180k bike ride. So what is it like to recover from a 100-miler? I mean, the legs must be shot for weeks.
Yes, for sure. It's definitely, and I think that also depends on some 100-milers. You bounce back quicker than others. I think the first 100-miler I did, the Leadville 100-miler back in 2011, it took me about close on a month to kind of bounce back, or even kind of feel like running properly again. I think the first 2 weeks, my legs the first 2 weeks after the race, my legs felt like they'd been gone through like a pulverizer. My quads are just completely beat up. Now I recover like a lot quicker. Like I think after a week, my legs start to feel kind of normal again, but they still feel really heavy and just like there's nothing in them for a good 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks after a 100-miler. So I think rest is really important in recovery. I think even just from long training runs, I think kind of recovery is just as important as training. If you're not recovering properly, then you're not going to be able to kind of progress. So I definitely do try and take some time off after a race to recover. And then also try and have like a complete break at least once a year where I don't do any running for at least 3 weeks, just so I give my body a complete break.
Yeah. Specific things that you do after such a race? I mean, is it just rest, or of course, massage, or do you take ice bath or stuff like that?
I do get a fair amount of massages. I try and keep moving. I find if I do nothing, then like I kind of seize up. So my wife's a really keen mountain biker, so I'll do a little bit of easy mountain biking with her. Maybe try and go for a surf or something. Get some cold water on the legs. And just mix it up. Try and get lots of sleep. Obviously that helps speed up recovery, and eat some good food as well. And I think just try and be kind to yourself and not kind of force your training again. Kind of get back into training when you kind of feel like you're ready to get back into training. I think also 100 mile takes a lot out of you mentally. So it's also about being kind of mentally ready to get back into training again.
Yeah, all right. Have you figured out your 2015 season yet? I think you've had to sort of reconsider that. I mean, redraw it.
Yes, unfortunately, at the end of last year, I picked up glandular fever, so I had to take a month off of no training completely, and then kind of gradually get back into things. So I've just kind of really over the last 2 weeks kind of been able to get back into proper training again. So I've had to look my schedule. I was going to do the World Ultra Tour again this year and focus on some of those races, but I've decided to pull out of that and just make sure that I fully recover from the glandular fever. So the first half of the year I'll be focusing on the Western States 100 miler in June. That's going to be a really big goal for me, and maybe look at doing something like Trans-Vulcania, a sky race in the Canary Islands in May as a tune-up race. And then second half of the year I'll be looking to do Raid of Reunion Island, which is
Diagonale des Fous, yeah.
Yes, on Union Island. So that'll be a focus race for me at the end of October, and then I'll probably look at doing another sky running race, maybe run the Rat or something like that in September, just to kind of try and get me back into race shape again.
Yeah, all right. Well, the reunion race definitely is going to be nice.
Yes.
I did the trek on just walking. It took me like 10 days or something to complete it. But it's a stunning course, so you'll definitely enjoy that. And good luck with that.
Awesome. Thanks.
It's been a short but very successful career so far. What do you see as your highlight so far?
Definitely, I think winning that first race in the Gobi Desert was definitely a highlight for me, just because it was so unexpected and I didn't know what to expect. And like I said, I put a lot of effort into to get there and to do the training and to get in the best possible shape that I could be. So that was a big highlight for me. And then I think after that, winning the 4 deserts in 2010, and then in 2011 winning my first 100 miler, the Leadville 100 miler was really special for me. And then also in 2013 I was able to win a race. I've won an ultra distance trail race on every continent, so that was something special as a personal goal for me to tick off. And then last year was a really big year for me. I did the World Ultra Tour and was second overall, which was highlight for me, and that included winning Trans Gran Canaria. And then I'm also I love trail running and racing, but I also enjoy the free running aspect of things. So myself and Rainer Christel from South Africa, we traversed the Drakensberg mountains in a record time. The mountains that in southern Africa, and that was 210 kilometers, like self-supported and stuff. So that was a really big challenge for me, and something that I didn't know if I could complete. So that was definitely like one of the highlights of my career as well.
Yeah. Have you had to deal with any disappointments so far?
Yeah, there've been a number along the way. I think 2013 was quite a tough year for me. I picked up a stomach bug at one race, and then I was really focused on doing well at Western States, and I got injured just before for the race, and then I kind of reshuffled my calendar and try to get back into shape as quick as possible. And I ran the Leadville 100 mile and had to pull out halfway through with injury. So I just couldn't seem to get anything going in 2013. So that was probably definitely kind of a low light for me. But I think it's the failures and the low lights are the times you learn the most about yourself. So it wasn't fun at the time, but it's definitely something I've learned from. And even I think picking up glandular fever at the end of last year was quite frustrating. Like I was looking forward to starting off my season like really early this year and feeling strong, but it's part of sport, and it's just part of the whole process, and you just got to respect your body and and just try and get healthy as quick as possible.
Yeah, good. Now, you've already touched on that 2015 season and the races that you're going to be doing then. But what else do you have on your bucket list? Yeah,
I think bucket list, I'm really focused on the 100-mile mountain races. I think for me, I really like the 2 big 100-mile races that I really want to run that I haven't run is Raid of Reunion, Diagonal de Fur, which I'm hope to be running at the end of October this year, and then Ultra Trail Mont Blanc. I've actually never run that, so I'll definitely look at maybe doing that next year. Those are two really big races I'd really like to run. And then from a free running kind of fastest known time point of view, I'm looking at maybe doing some like a traverse or two in some the mountains high up in Africa. I think I'm really proud to be from Africa, and it's really cool to be able to kind of put Africa on the map a little bit and really kind of showcase some of the epic mountains we've got. So I'm looking at a few projects. I've just obviously got to do a little bit more investigation, and hopefully I can do a project again with Rainer Crystal, similar to the Drakensberg mountains, but just a little bit higher up in Africa.
Yeah, all right, cool. There was one other traverse that I was looking for. I think I heard about it from Matt Hart, and I'm sort of Nolan's 14. That's what I was thinking about.
Yes.
Is that something that you've heard about or want to do one day?
I've heard about it. It looks really challenging. I haven't really thought about it too much, but it looks pretty epic. I know spoken to a couple of guys that have attempted it, and it really looks brutal. So yeah, maybe one day. I think I'd like to do a couple more races before doing something like that, because I think that's really going to take it out of you.
Good stuff. All right. How can people get in touch with you, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Ryan Sands, and then also on Twitter at Ryan Sands, and also in Instagram. I'm pretty active on there, and also have a Facebook page, www.ryansands.com. So yeah, you can get in touch with me on any of those channels.
All right, cool. Definitely make sure to put those links in the show notes page.
Thanks.
Feel free to give some love to your sponsors.
Yeah, thanks to Salomon Running. Obviously, really stoked to be on their international team, living my dreams, and also guys like Red Bull, who really make my dreams possible, and Velocity Sports Lab, and Oakley, and Sunter, and Cross Country Insurance. So yeah, really lucky to be able to have those guys on board, and to enable me to be a full-time professional athlete, which is enables me to live my dreams. So a big shout out and thanks to those guys.
All right, kudos to them. Well, all right, thanks for your time, Ryan. Is there anything else you want to plug?
No, that's all, I think. And yeah, thanks so much for having me on the show, and looking forward to chatting to you in the future again.
Yeah, right. Thanks, my pleasure. Thanks for doing this. I think it's pretty late. You're part of the world now, so thanks for doing this at so late at night.
No, anytime.
Thanks, Ryan. Good luck with recovery from that glandular fever, and all the best for 2015. And we'll keep in touch.
Cool. Thanks.
Cheers.